Now that the Cybertruck is finally delivered and we're going to see volume slowly pick up in 2024 and potentially hit the record of 250,000 producing and delivery by 2025-2026, the question now is, can the Cybertruck take the stock, Tesla stock, to all-time high? Well, if I'm going to be honest with you guys and save you guys some time, because we're going to go look into the graph and see how that can affect the stock price and the overall profits and revenue. Long story short, it doesn't. And in fact, in 2024, it's actually going to bring margins even lower. I'm not a Tesla bear, guys. I'm wearing a Tesla shirt. I'm all into Tesla stock, but we got to look at it in reality. We got to look at it what's going to happen. And I'm going to be showing you guys right now in an Excel sheet how that's going to happen. All I can say is that 2024 is the recovery year for Tesla. 2023 was a big beatdown for Tesla. 2024 is going to be a great recovery year, even though we're going to be losing money on every single Cybertruck we're going to be selling, at least in 2024. So if you guys are ready, man, grab your popcorn, smash the like button, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Let's go. So here is a Tesla chart from the compact car, Cybertruck, sexy vehicles, to servicing, leasing, and credits, which is under other vehicle revenue, energy profits and revenue, and then FSD. But we'll do that at the end of the video because you're going to see the biggest difference in Tesla's business in the future is not their vehicles. As soon as they get full self-driving enabled, you're going to see everything spike. It's going to be absolutely insane. So starting with 2024, right off the bat, you guys can see 2.2 million vehicle deliveries for the sexy vehicles, average selling price of 43,000. That's also including FSD beta. This is not including FSD in China. It's just in the US. And if you include that, that's probably going to be more. And the reason why I increased the average selling price is because they're increasing margins now. And I do think in 2024, with interest rates coming lower, Tesla will be able to increase prices because demand will come back again. Gross profits of 18.5%. Here are the profits and revenue for the sexy vehicles. We got the other vehicle revenue like services, leasing, and credits. Mind you guys, it's not including supercharging or the agreement between Tesla and BP and Tesla and EG and other ones that are coming, and as well as other companies that are adopting Tesla's supercharging network. It's not including any of that. It's just what we know now. Energy almost reaching $9 billion and profits of over $2 billion, which is insane. Operating costs, taxes, other income. We get a total revenue of over $115 billion. Net income non-GAAP of $12.2 billion. And net income gap of 10.2 billion, about $2 billion every single year, as you guys can see, when it comes to stock-based compensation. Because right now, every quarter, they're doing about $500 million anyways in stock-based compensation. I do think this will increase as we keep going every single year. Shares outstanding, I just kept it at 3.5 billion every single year. I do think sometime they have to do a buyback between maybe 2025, 2026, maybe even 2027, they gotta do some sort of a buyback. They're printing about almost like, 15 to $20 billion by then. I mean, come on, right? They should be doing some sort of a buyback. So what I want you guys to pay attention to is the operating margin. 10.2% in 2024, excluding the Cybertruck. We got a non-GAAP EPS, because that's what we care about when it comes to the stock price and what Wall Street looks at, is $3.50, which is really good. We're going to do the stock price and the PE at the end of all this, but we get $3.50, which is, pretty good for 2024 for a good recovery year. But then here comes the Cybertruck. In my personal opinion, I do think they can deliver about 75,000 Cybertrucks in 2024, but I do think they're going to be losing quite a bit of money on that until it fully ramps up. And I think over 100,000 is where they can start to see a break even. And over then, they can start to see some sort of profits coming in. I did some research and some analysts are expecting about a 40,000 loss per each Cybertruck until they can increase ramping. At least it reaches 10,000 units. But I'm going to keep it conservative and say that the first 75,000 batch, they're going to keep losing money. And I put here minus 8% in gross profits, and we get about minus $420 million. I mean, that's quite hilarious. Yeah, I mean, ironic actually. And over $5 billion in Cybertruck revenue, which is crazy because now the total revenue is over $120 billion, but the operating margin is below 10% now, going back to, about 9.4%, still more than what it is this year. I mean, that's really good. That's going to really help the stock in a way. 12.2 billion to a little bit over 11.8 billion in the non-GAAP, which is not that bad really, if you ask me. I mean, this is going to benefit Tesla in the long run. But still, that's gonna bring the EPS down to $3.38. So that's what it's gonna do. And in fact, the stock, I mean, if EPS is lower, stock price is definitely gonna be lower unless PE is a lot higher, depending what the sentiment is in 2024, which I think, in my opinion, for Tesla, it's gonna be pretty darn high. And we'll get to that in a bit. 2025, still no compact car in 2025, but I do say about 3 million vehicles, sexy vehicles do get delivered. Gross profits of 19.5%. The profits and revenues you guys can see here for it. Over 15 billion in services, leasing, and credits, and profits almost 3.7 billion. Energy reaching almost 13 billion, and another billion just coming from the energy sector in 2025. It's gonna be absolutely insane. Operating costs obviously increases more, taxes increases more, and we get an operating margin of 10.6%, net income of over $16 billion, and an EPS and non-GAAP of about over $4.58, which is not bad for 2025. But here's the thing now, the Cybertruck comes into the play, and I put here, finally, I put here 150,000 Cybertrucks being delivered, and finally they get to start making a profit of about 5%. So that's going to be an additional revenue of $10 billion and a profit of $500 million in 2025 just from the Cybertruck alone. The total revenues are now over 160 billion, and the non-GAAP and the GAAP, they get increased about $500 million because all thanks to the Cybertruck. But again, the operating margin does go lower. There is still a drag. I mean, when the car section is making about almost 20%, the sexy vehicles are making about 20%, and then the energy section is making about 23%. You have 5% from the Cybertruck. Yes, it's $500 million extra profits coming from Tesla, at least gross profits. Nonetheless, though, it's still going to weigh down on margins because you have more revenue and profits are less, even though it's a little bit uptick. But nonetheless, $16.5 billion, that's an EPS of $4.72. Absolutely a sheesh flipping moment. Now, if you guys realize in 2024 and 2025, there's about a $5,000 decrease in the Cybertruck average selling price. I do believe that as Tesla keeps ramping up, they can bring down the cost. And at the same time, because of economy of scale, they can benefit from a higher margin. I mean, that's how Tesla operates. They're very smart on how they operate. In 2026, I did bring the compact car here at a minus 5% gross profits. And I think they're gonna do about around 50,000, just a year of them, first year of them delivering the compact car, which is nowhere near as hard as building the Cybertruck. In fact, it's going to be a whole lot easier than building the Model 3 and Y. So I do expect them to produce this vehicle very quickly, and I do expect a high demand for this because only 25, maybe even less, to 23,000, depending how inflation is and how the cost material is and all that kind of stuff. But I left it here 25,000, 50,000. That's a minus of about $63 million. For the Cybertruck here, I decreased the average selling price from 65,000 to 60,000, as you guys can see. And I said full production, 2026, they're doing a full-on 250,000 Cybertruck deliveries in 2026, which is absolutely a sheesh moment. But let's put that in a bit. I want to show you guys the profits and revenue before the Cybertruck, because this does have a little bit of a weight to it. Sexy vehicles, almost 4 million deliveries, around 41,000 every single year. They are decreasing average selling prices because they can. And I capped it here even for 2027 of about 20%. Here are the profits and revenue for, which is absolutely insane. Look at the profit, $30 billion just from the cars, which is crazy. Other vehicle revenues will be almost 20 billion, over 4 billion in gross profits. Total energy revenue, almost 20 billion, and energy profits almost reaching 5 billion, which is insane. I'm making 4.5 billion just from energy profits. Insane. Operating costs, 21 billion. Of course, if they're doing the compact car and the Cybertruck and all that kind of stuff, I'm pretty sure that they have other things coming along too. Operating costs will continue to go higher. Taxes, of course, other income. Total revenue almost reaching $200 billion, around 10% operating margin. So here's the thing, guys. We're 2026 in and we're still not at high operating margin yet, but wait until we add the Cybertruck. That's an EPS of $4.89 without the Cybertruck. If we add the Cybertruck, 250,000 Cybertruck deliveries. That's about $15 billion in additional revenue and $1.5 billion in profits. Now, most of you guys are going like, the Cybertruck should be double this. But I'm keeping things conservative. We don't know that yet. Keeping things conservative, 10% there. we get an operating margin still at 10%, but an EPS of $5.32, like a massive difference. We went from $4.89 to $5.32. That does some way to the stock, but not as much. We're going to see in a bit as well. 2027, compact car, they're going to sevenfold because again, it's an easy vehicle to make. Under my assumption, that's what I think, because it's going to be a whole lot easier than 300Y to make. It's going to be smaller, more practical, and less parts. So I do think they're going to ramp really quickly with this. And I say that my 2027, which is the year after that, they're going to make about 10% on that, which would be close to $1 billion. And revenue almost $9 billion. And this will ramp continuously in 2028. This will probably become 15%, then 20%, and then so on and so forth. Sexy vehicles, almost 4.8 million deliveries, 40,000, 20%. I just capped it at 20% here. No more than that. It could potentially go to 25%, but I'm just keeping things conservative. You guys can see the vehicle profits and then the other vehicle revenue and profits. Energy though, 26.5 billion in revenue and over 6 billion in profits. That is a sheesh flipping moment. That's pretty much paying off the entire operating cost, energy alone. That's crazy. And about $250 billion in revenue without the Cybertruck. That's an operating margin of 9.8%. That will give you around $20 billion in net income. With all this, we get a non-GAAP of $5.55, which doesn't make any sense at all. But now we're going to add the Cybertruck here, about 250,000. That's the cap. And they could go more, but I'm going to say 250,000 is the cap they're going to do. And the price is down to 55,000 and 12.5% for gross profits. Now this could be 20%, but keeping things conservative, that's an addition of 13.75 billion in revenue and over 1.7 billion in profits. That would mean you would get an EPS non-GAAP of over $6, which is not bad at all. But the operating margin is staying flat in the 10%. So here's the thing, guys. When it comes to Tesla, when you look at the vehicles and energy for Tesla, it's a low margin business. I mean, it really is. You have, especially when you have a lot of high operating costs, when you're trying to operate these things, especially a truck, it's expensive. It really is. Not to mention that the compact car is still ramping. I mean, this will grow exponentially. The compact car, I think, is going to be worth north of 20% in 2028 and 2029, in my opinion. But here's the thing. If you're investing in Tesla stock and you only look at the vehicles, you should not be investing in Tesla stock. What I'm investing in Tesla stock is with FSD. Now let's go look at over the stock prices right now with all this, and then we can add the FSD, because I think FSD is a game changer. That's why I'm going all in. That's why I'm buying as many shares as I can with Tesla, because of FSD, software as a business. We'll get to that. Stock price. Let's see. If you guys ready to see what the stock price would be for these 4 years, then why isn't the like button smashed? Come on, man. Let's go. In 2024, EPS of $3.38. PE right now is around 75. Let's put the PE around 75 right now. That's about a stock price of $254 per share. Right now, analysts are saying Tesla stock next year, this time would be 240. Really? Come on now. Let's be a bit more realistic. In 2024 or next year, pretty much, we will see interest rate cuts go down. In my opinion, I do think it will happen. This will have a positive effect for the Tesla stock. I think this can go as high as 85 PE, maybe as high as 90, reaching the 300s, in my opinion. But I'm going to keep it conservative and say 75 PE. And not to mention the margins have bottomed. So really, I do see, look, demand's coming, margin has bottomed, Tesla's making more money. I can easily see them being at a higher multiple. Now in 2025, if we're giving a 75 PE in 2024, naturally we should give it a 70 PE or a 65 PE lower than 2024, around there. So we get around, if you give it a 65 PE, that's around $307 per share. I mean, not even reaching the trillion mark. If we give it a 70 PE, that's a market cap over 1 trillion and a stock price of 330. 2026, a 65 PE, around $350 per share, almost 1.1 trillion. And 2027, with a PE of 60, we get a stock price of 362, or a market cap just almost $1.1 trillion. Now, here's the thing, right? If we are seeing high growth and and it's only based on energy and vehicles, these PEs may be a tiny bit high, especially when it goes to 2026, 2027, in my humble opinion. But that's until FSD comes in. Guys, FSD is a game changer. It's not Cybertruck. Cybertruck will not get Tesla stock to all-time high. It will definitely help bottom the stock even, stronger, but it will not take it to all-time high. I'm telling you guys this. The FSD will. FSD revenue, only Teslas outside of the United States, because we are getting the FSD baked in the average selling price. So it doesn't make sense to do it twice. Around 2025, I do assume 50% of all the Teslas around the world are going to get FSD at a monthly rate of $199. Now with that, we get a revenue here of 7.2 billion and an FSD of 60% profits. There should be close to 80%, but that's 60% over $4.3 billion. If you guys don't know how I broke this down, check the video here, but take a look at that. Operating margin jumped from 10% to 12.3%. EPS almost reaching $6 with a 70 PE. That is $417 per share. That's what will get Tesla stock to all-time high again. That. And heck, you can give it a higher EPS here, because if FSD gross profit is 60% and growing, it could be a 75 PE here. But I'm going to keep it at 70 just to stay conservative. That's crazy. Now, obviously, this is exponential growth. The more Tesla has their vehicles on the road, the more people can sign up for FSD because there's more Teslas on the road. And with 2026, that's $11 billion and gross profits of $6.6 billion, 65 PE of $468 per share. And then you get an EPS, non-GAAP, of $7.21, which is absolutely insane. What's even crazier is in 2027. We get an FSD revenue of almost $16 billion and gross profits of 60% of almost reaching $10 billion. That takes the non-GAAP EPS to $8.70, 60 PE, $525. And this is not even including robotaxi or licensing. If Tesla can't do the FSD with their own vehicles, you can bet that robotaxi will happen and licensing will happen. And if all that happens, I'm going to give all this a 5 extra PE. That's around like $565 per share by 2027. Now, here's the thing. If they're growing this fast, if profit is growing this fast, I can see a PE even higher by 2027, being as high as 75, and that's the max I can see it at around $652 per share. ARK is saying around 2,000 by 2027, which is about a PE of around 225. Obviously, the PE will be a whole lot lower if we have robotaxi profits and revenue and licensing. That's probably going to bring the PE down to maybe below, around the 75. It's really if robotaxis and the licensing do take a big chunk of Tesla, which I do think they will. So that is absolutely insane. This is why full self-driving is very important for Tesla and shareholders. If full self-driving fails, I'm selling all my Tesla stock tomorrow. Or majority of it, because really Tesla will truly be only a car company and an energy company at the end of the day. And really, that's what the valuation today represents and justifies in the next 5-10 years. So we really need full self-driving to come online to bring the stock a whole lot higher. At least my price target by 2030 is around 1,500, but we need the full self-driving to come through. We do need that. If not, the Cybertruck doesn't matter, the sexy car doesn't matter. Maybe Tesla will be worth maybe 1 or 2 trillion max with just the auto and the vehicles alone. Not to sound bearish or anything. I'm just, trying to smack you guys with some reality here. I'm still all in. I'm still buying as many shares as I can because of FSD, just this alone. Stock market will go bananas once Wall Street realizes this. It's a sheesh moment. It's going to be absolutely a sheesh moment. But going back to the video again, the topic of this video, will the Cybertruck take Tesla stock to all-time high? It barely moves it by a bit. It adds maybe 30-40 cents to the EPS, which will help the EPS. For example, in 2025, if we go ahead and remove the FSDs and as well as the Cybertruck of 150,000, that's an EPS of $4.58 without the Cybertruck. If we add the Cybertruck in, even with a 5% margin, that is an EPS of $4.72. Essentially, the PE of 75 gave the stock price prior to this of around $343. If we add the Cybertruck to it, that's around $354. So it does add about like $20-30 to the stock price. The Cybertruck, once they're profitable, maybe as high as $50-60, but it doesn't move the needle that much in Tesla's overall business. What the chunk is that's going to change Tesla is the full self-driving. So it's an absolutely sheesh flipping moment. And you guys can check the video here. 2030 stock price, including everything. It's a sheesh moment. Check it out. You'll be disappointed. Guys, get your I Bought the Dip t-shirt if you all want to support me. I'm wearing one right now. And I even made a GYF one for limited time only. Only if you know, you know. Anyways, subscribe for more and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.